Push past the sealed roads and the tourist signs in Queensland, and the landscape starts holding secrets that rewrite everything you thought you knew about this country. Carved into sandstone, pressed into limestone, and buried under red desert floor plans are 10 ancient structures and rock art sites researchers still cannot fully explain. Some of them older than anything most Australians were ever taught existed here. Around 3.5 to 4 hours north of Cairns, the sandstone escarpment country around Laura on Cape York Peninsula holds what UNESCO has ranked among the top 10 rock art sites in the world. And most Australians have never heard its name. Site 1, Quincan Country. Quincan Country covers 230,000 hectares of rugged savanna. The galleries within it are at least 15,000 years old, with some estimates pushing to 30,000 or more. On the walls, 2 distinct spirit beings, the tall, slender Tamara and the short, fat-bodied Imjim, with their distinctive large heads, both caught mid-movement across the walls. 2 types appear. The Tamara, benevolent spirits who vanish into rock crevices, and the Imjim, dangerous ones who move like kangaroos. Researchers and Laura rangers still document up to 100 new galleries every year. The deeper reserves remain closed, managed by Aboriginal trustees, still being interpreted alongside the traditional owners whose ancestors made them. Site 2, Inangai Land. 70 kilometers northeast of Barcaldine, a 160-meter sandstone shelter holds 15,000 individual petroglyphs, animal tracks, grooves, drilled holes, and 111 stencils. Among them, 7 large engraved star-like designs, enormous snake carvings, and foot engravings pressed into the shelter floor, some with 6 or more toes. 10 clusters of designs spread deliberately south to north, telling the Seven Sisters story, a single, continuous narrative that also appears in ancient Greek Pleiades mythology. 15,000 marks, one story. Most Queenslanders have not seen a single photograph of it. Site 3, Carnarvon Gorge. Drive west from Rockhampton, and the dry plains give way to sandstone ridges. Inside the gorge, a 62-meter wall holds nearly 2,000 motifs. Ochre stencils, freehand paintings and engravings, boomerangs, hands, shields, emu tracks. Parks Queensland describes the stenciling technique as among the most sophisticated of its kind in the world. The Bijara and Karingbal Dreaming says the rainbow serpent Mundagura carved the gorge itself as he moved through the creek system. The sandstone recorded everything that came after. Site 4, Chillago. Northwest of Cairns, jagged limestone towers rise from the red earth, riddled with caves shaped by water over millions of years. Inside, rock art layered across surfaces from approximately 100 to 3,500 years old, used across generations for shelter, water, and ceremony. Most visitors to far north Queensland who reach the Atherton tablelands never continue the extra distance. Site 5, Lawn Hill Gorge. In the remote northwest, Lawn Hill Gorge cuts through flat spinifex country with permanent water, ancient cabbage palms, and sandstone walls. The Wani people have lived alongside for thousands of years. Rock art has been documented within what is now Budjamula National Park, though the full extent and precise dating remain under active research. The Wani connection to this place is not historical. It is present. These 5 sites are not isolated curiosities. They form a continuous inhabited landscape stretching back tens of thousands of years. And the 5 sites still to come go deeper into territory that challenges not just interpretation, but everything most Australians were taught about who lived here. Of those first 5 sites, which one surprised you most? the Imjim spirits bouncing like kangaroos through Quincan country, or the six-toed foot engravings pressed into the Inangai shelter floor? Drop your answer in the comments below, because the next 5 sites go somewhere even stranger. The next 5 sites don't just add to the list, they start pulling at the official record itself. Site 6, Kenneth Cave. You are still inside Carnarvon National Park, the same park where the Ochre Gallery holds nearly 2,000 stencils going back 3,750 years. But take a different route into the Mount Moffat section and you reach a cave that holds occupational evidence dating back 9,500 years. That places human beings in central Queensland, deep inside the last ice age, when sea levels were lower and the landscape looked fundamentally different from anything alive today. The art gallery and the cave sit inside the same national park. The gap between 3,750 years and 19,500 years is its own open question, and no one has fully answered it. Site 7, Jaki Kundu. 5 kilometers northeast of Gympie, a sandstone ridge rises with stone terraces cut into its sides, giving it a stepped pyramidal shape. The mainstream explanation, Italian immigrant viticulture from the 19th century, rests on a 1967 archaeological survey whose report is currently unobtainable for reasons not publicly explained. Archaeologist Greg Jeffries found terrace stones exceeding 1 ton, with terraces becoming more pronounced toward the top. That is the opposite of cultivation logic, where lower slopes are always prioritized. No major excavation has been conducted. The Queensland government has proposed routing a highway through it. Site 8, Chillagoe's deeper record. The limestone towers northwest of Cairns hold rock art layered across 3,500 years of ceremonial use, but the standard tourist map doesn't mark a single gallery. The deliberate, complex relationship between the Wani people and this landscape across millennia is simply erased by omission. Site 9, Mithaka, Ancient Villages. In 1871, Queensland native police officer James Gilmore recorded 103 huts at Thunderpurdy Lagoon in the Channel Country and documented intensive fishing industries along the waterways. His report sat in the archives for over a century. When historian Ray Kirkhove surfaced it, researchers from the University of Queensland and Griffith University confirmed through excavation and drone survey the presence of ritual structures, dwellings, and quarry complexes covering several square kilometers. Permanent settlements, food storage, aquaculture, and possible plant cultivation in country European settlers had described as empty. The textbook said this landscape held nothing. The archives said otherwise. The archaeology is starting to agree with the archives. Site 10, the Quincan Deep Reserves. You began there. Now here is what visitors never see. Behind the public galleries, behind the 230,000 hectares of savanna and the spirit figures caught mid-movement, lie deeper reserves managed entirely by Aboriginal trustees. Researchers still document up to 100 new galleries every year. The interpretation is ongoing, conducted alongside the traditional owners whose ancestors pressed these figures into stone tens of thousands of years ago. Researchers have called it one of the most extraordinary archaeological landscapes in the world. Most Queenslanders have never heard its name. Queensland is not a young place. The evidence is in the rock, and the people whose ancestors put it there are still here. Subscribe for more sites the history book skipped, and watch this one next.